Earlier, I celebrated the board of directors of DoTheDream. Again, I would like to celebrate Mrs. Ola Shopowora, one of our board of directors, for giving us this beautiful opportunity again. And ladies and gentlemen, how many of you would love to learn something new today? If you are learning, say, I'm learning.
I'm learning.
Say, I will use what I've learned today.
I will use what I've learned today.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time as we welcome Mrs. Luya to the stage now for our presentation. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I'm happy with the energy in the room. It's giving me ginger. Yes, so happy International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Okay, so happy Valentine's Day. I got you. All right. So yes, as interesting as Valentine is, the International Day for Women and Girls in Science is more important and more interesting, and we will find out why. Okay, so I've been given one long topic like that. Let's read it together. Agric Science, a perspective to accelerate and localize SDGs in achieving Agenda 2030. Some people are just saying, you don't be. I'm going to sleep now. What kind of boring, what are they even talking about? So it's very long. Do you understand can we all see it? So can anybody attempt to even say, okay, what does this even mean? Okay, so what we are going to do first, before we even start talking about it, you know how when you give your clothes to the tailor, they will first pieces the clothes. They will pieces it, put it into different pieces, then they will start joining. Have you seen a tailor cutting out the patterns before? Sometimes if you are there, especially if it's a very expensive fabric, your heart will almost fall. You'll be like, But when the tailor finishes tearing it apart and they start putting it together, then you see the beauty in that cloth again. So that's what we are going to try to do. First, we'll take out the major words there. Science. Science is science. Thankfully, our last speaker talked about science and curiosity. And in our days, a lot of us will just say science is discovery. That was the short, easy definition of science. Because through science, you start discovering new things. You start finding out new things. But it does not happen by magic. It doesn't happen by magic. We'll find out how that happens. The other word there is agric. And agric stands for agriculture. It's just the abbreviated version of agriculture. Who knows what agriculture is? Who knows what agriculture is? Yes? Cultivating crops. Thank you very much. Please clap for her. So, agriculture has to do with cultivating crops and rearing of animals, but agriculture is much more than it's pregnant. But we'll stop there for now. And then the last one is talking about SDGs. Now, what SDG means is Sustainable Development Goals. Have you heard about that before?
Yes.
How many are they? Fantastic. Give yourselves a round of applause. Beautiful. So we're looking at agricultural science, and we are looking at agricultural science as it affects the SDGs. We'll look at all those other grammar in between in the topic later. Now, like I said before, that science is discovery, but that discovery doesn't happen by magic. You have to pursue knowledge. When you now get that knowledge, you don't put it excuse me, you don't put it in your pocket. You apply the knowledge, you use it, you try it out, you test things out, right? How many times did they test for electricity before it worked? Thank you. So you see that in science, we try things out. It may not work the first time, it may not work the 99th time, but it could work out the 100th time. And then it has to do with understanding the natural world, the social world, how you relate with people and things. And then in science, there must be a method, a way, a system. So you have to say, okay, this is how this thing works, so that somebody else can replicate it, somebody else can do what you have done. That is when it becomes a science. If you do something and there's no record of how anybody else can do it, it is not yet a science. So, and then science, lastly, is based on evidence. Now, combining agriculture and science, I said agriculture is pregnant. So you see there, you see soil, crops, animals, the environment is part of agriculture. Consumption, other uses of agriculture, industrial uses. These days, palm kernel. They say the palm tree, nothing is wasted in the palm tree. Yes, no part of it is wasted. Everything has a use. And if you even look at the front, after washing it off for your soup, you break the kernel, they use the kernel inside for oil. That shell is now being used to tar roads. Do you know that? It is now being used to tar roads. It is hot cake. It's being exported to other countries. So you see that agric science is everywhere around us, and we can make money from it if we know it. So it is bringing the information to our consciousness so that we can use it, 1, to improve our lives by earning more income, 2, to improve the environment, 3, to even make a name for ourselves. All right. And then we've said we know what the SDGs are. There's 17 of them. Thankfully, there's one here. DoTheDream has already given us a reminder here, a constant reminder of the SDGs here. So we can look at it. And the other in-betweens in our topic, it said agric science, a perspective to accelerate and localize. What the topic simply means is, how can we use agric science to move more quickly towards these SDGs based on who we are, where we are, and what we have? How can we use agric science? So you are a student, you live in Lagos, you attend Aidere Ajibola Senior High School. How can you, from where you are, from your house, use your address, add your address from number, they are not saying their address, from number, very good. How can you from there use agriculture to move towards these SDGs? You know why we are moving towards the SDGs? It's because this is what will make our world better and peaceful and still livable as we continue to live. You hear in many countries where they will say, hurricane, different things are happening. Is the weather not hotter now than it used to be before? The heat this period. Before I wore this cloth, I thought about it. I said, this heat, it is all due to climate change. And that is why we must all contribute in one way or another to go towards the SDGs, so that our world will still be normal for us to live with and for our children's children to live in. That is what we are treating today. Okay. Now, this is some of the information about the SDGs and why we are trying to move towards it. It was adopted by the General Assembly of United Nations in 2017. Now, if you calculate between 2017 and the SDG goals are towards, what's the target year? 2030. In fact, people are fantastic in this room. Now, the target is 2030. If you check from 2017 till now, and from now to 2030, which is closer? From now to 2030 is closer. It was last year that we got to the half mark of reaching the SDGs. And when they checked, they saw that we are nowhere near the target. Many countries don't even know about it at all. Some know about it, but they just know it in theory. They don't know how you can apply everything you do every day to achieve the SDGs. Many countries that claim that they are even applying it are not applying it. In fact, at the end of the day, the Secretary General said that unless we act now, that 2030 agenda that we are talking about, it will be an epitaph for a world that might have been. That means it will be like a story. You just be, oh, we heard about it, oh, but it never happened. So that is why now there's like an emergency. There's a call for everybody, you and I, to begin to contribute towards the SDGs. And the way we can contribute to it from where we are, from the things we know, from the things that are already familiar to us, from agriculture, from the tree behind your house, from the chicken running on the streets, from everything that we know around us. The way that we can begin to contribute to the SDGs is what we will discuss today. Now, some people will look at it and say, oh, how does agriculture now concern the SDGs? Do you know that agriculture employs 28% of the world's population? And when you bring it home to Africa, that number grows from 28% to 60%. You know why? The woman working on the farm, she's in agriculture. The woman selling in the market, the tomato and foodstuff, she's in agriculture. The woman making ogi, she's in agriculture. The dispatch rider carrying the food products from one place to another is in agriculture. It's almost as if everybody is in agriculture. So if we don't look at agriculture, where else will we look? And then taking it down to women, because today we are celebrating International Day for Women and Girls in Science. If you go and look at it, you see that women represent 40 to 50% of agricultural workforce. Check, okay, just enter, if you want to argue with me, just enter the market. Growing up, what you hear is market women. Now all these market women. Even when government wants to do anything, they will say it's for market women, because the idea is that it is women that are there. You may see them as doing small jobs, but have you checked the woman who cuts fruits and sells beside your house? Go and check it. She has trained all her children in the university and maybe even built a house somewhere with that fruit that she's cutting. But you will undermine her and hail the person that will not tie in the morning, go to some office, come back at the end of the day, and by the end of the month, or by the end of 10 years, the person has nothing to show for it. So it is how we can begin to look at all these areas and say, now that I've gone to school, how can I do that fruit better, that will even earn me better than the woman by the roadside? And as I'm cutting the fruits, how am I really contributing to the SDGs? If I know how I'm contributing to the SDGs, I can talk about it. And if I talk about it, I will get support. Do you know what grants are? Grants. Have you heard the word grants before? Those are monies that people look at businesses and they say, this business is contributing to SDG. Take this money. It's not a loan, no, you're not paying back. Grow this business. Those things exist. Those things exist. And you can be a part of that. Simply by doing what you already do, but doing it better. And recording it. Remember I said there has to be a method. So that when you record it, it is something that can be replicated. It's something that can be repeated. So you do that, and you are able to talk about it, and you're able to attract the needed attention and funding to yourselves. Now, there are different ways that agriculture supports the SDGs. Food, one of the SDGs, has to do with zero hunger. If you don't eat food, please, what will you eat? Agriculture is the only area that supports zero hunger. And of course, in employing people, no poverty. When you eat well, good health. You learn agriculture in school, quality education. We are celebrating more girls in science class, gender equality, clean water and sanitization. When the water you use in agric can be recycled, can be reused. There's something called integrated farming, where water coming from your poultry flows into your fish farm, and that serves as food for the fish. It serves as food for the fish. You are managing water. All right? Affordable and clean energy. I talked about the palm kernel shell. I visited a company in Ghana, and it was started like by a woman. She has passed on now, but the business is still on. It is a family business. Her husband is still alive. What they do is, if you go to some supermarket, you will see palm nuts, banga, inside a tin. They make it. She started it over 80 years ago. Now, what they now do in that place is they no longer use fire or gas or wood to prepare that banga thing. You know what they use? The palm kernel, chaff and shells. Because it stays longer than wood, it is cheaper and cleaner than gas. That is affordable, clean energy. So instead of them to produce using more expensive gas, they use part of the fruit they are already using to produce. They will spend less and make more profits. Do you understand? Decent work and economic growth. In fact, all of the SDGs, if we begin to talk about them, I will tell you how agriculture affects each and every one of them. And then you may be saying, these things you are saying, they are advanced now. How can me, where I am, participate in the SDGs? And that is the crux of the matter today. These are some examples of people from different countries. It's 6 examples from in different countries in Africa, young ladies, girls in schools, and how they were able to affect or contribute to the SDGs. And you may even look at some of them and say, but I do this thing now, but you've not communicated it through the right channel. Like one of them here, it says that she's an advocate for agriculture and started peer-to-peer tutoring program in her school. So in her school, they will gather people who are not passing agric very well. They will have discussion class. They will ask each other questions. And at the end of the day, the people will pass agriculture better. And they will record it and they will write about her and it will be published. And she can begin that as a business or as Mr. Tayo runs an NGO or as an NGO initiative which can attract funding just by that simple act. I'm sure you already do when you want to write exams. Don't you sit together, ask each other questions, teach each other? But that is an aspect that contributes to quality education. And if you are doing it as a female, contributes to gender equality. Now, the Nigerian lady listed here is, I think her name is Aisha, yes, Aisha Ibrahim. And they said that she was taking locally sourced materials to make organic fertilizer. Do you know what that means? If you put a bin in this school now, if you as the girls in science in this school come together and put a bin here and say everybody, if it is rice or food, something that is food or a fruit that you eat, after eating it, put the waste in this bag or in this basket, and you gather that waste and keep it somewhere and allow it digest well. Do you know that with a few things added to it, that thing can become a fertilizer for plants? For plants in your school, for plants in your home. And the news, you can call, I'm sure if you tell Mr. Tayo about it, he can attract the needed attention to you. The news, they can come and feature you in the news and say, these are what girls in this school are doing to contribute to the SDGs. And you make a name for yourself. And if you are able to think beyond your school to say, we would like to do this for the whole community, or we would like to do this for all the schools in this local government area, we need money for it. I can bet you that you will get all the money that you need for it. Do you understand? So now I'm telling you practical ways that you can rise up and say that you are contributing towards the SDGs using agriculture. And there are so many other ways, but that is just a clear example. Now I'll just say advocacy. These are some of the ways just listed here. Advocacy and partnerships. Partnerships for the goal is goal 17. That is bringing different people together to say, let us work on the goals. I mentioned just now that project of creating fertilizers. If you do that and you call on him and he calls on the government and media, you have created partnerships. You have added to the goal. You have added to cleaner energy, because instead of chemical fertilizers, you are now using organic fertilizers. You have done so many things here already, responsible consumption and production, because you did not just eat and throw away. You have done so many. So, and the lady who went about teaching her peers too, that is also advocacy. Crop production. If you set up a farm, a vegetable farm, whether it is in school, at the back of your house, inside a pot in your house, and you explain how that plant is helping the environment or helping a family or helping people live healthier, you are contributing to the SDGs. Animal production, compost manure, which is what I've described here. Alternative energy. I talked about the palm kernel shells. There's something called briquetting. Briquetting is, you can use the chaff from rice, right? You can use the chaff from rice to make blocks that you can use for fire instead of burning wood. And you know what burning wood means? Burning wood means that a tree has been cut down. And you know that the trees contribute to a healthier environment. So you see how knowing what you are doing already and how you can do it better can contribute to the SDGs and can contribute to making your life better, both income-wise and in making a name for you and your community. So that in general is what we were here to discuss today and what we are here to talk about. So I would like to, apart from the ways I mentioned, before I take your own questions, I would like to know, is there any way that anything you have already been doing that you feel has already been contributing to the SDGs? What is one thing that you have been doing that you can say, I think this thing contributes to the SDGs, especially if it has to do with agriculture. Yes, we have talked about different aspects. So we have talked about advocacy, education, good health, food. Yes. Yes, she has something to say. Okay.
Hey everybody.
Come and tell us.
Okay, good day everybody.
Yes.
There is a practice we always have in this school. The late comers, when they come late to school,
Okay.
our principal or the teacher in charge or the prefect, we ask them to separate the leaves from the death.
Okay.
So the leaves, they leave the leaves to decay, to die, so it can be used as manure.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I think it's
Beautiful. So, please put your hands together for her. That shows that you understand the class, you understand the lecture. And please, I don't want you to stop here. Mr. Tayo, sir, I'm going to hand, they are doing things to support the SDGs. Please, shine the light on them. I will hand that over to him. Yes, any other thing, whether you do it in school or at home, one more person. Yes. What do you do that supports the SDGs?
For those normally who are doing science and normally do practicals, so these practicals we take manures to fertilize the plants. We do practicals in the schools for agri students. We normally use all the manures we have for animals, waste, or the food that we have that are no longer useful. So then we bring it up to school, then we use it to fertilize our plants, and we see results actually.
Beautiful. So they are already practicing composting. And I think that your stories should be told more and more. And what else are you going to do? You are going to write it down. It will become a method that can be replicated even when you are not there. Then you have become a scientist. Maybe when you record it down, it will be your name that will be put down there as the scientist that invented it. So please go ahead, shine your light, and be the light of the world. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Mrs. Luya. Please, can we give her a round of applause? Thank you. If you pick one or two things. Oh,
They said,
wow.
and they have questions.
Yes, your name and you want to get your name, your email address as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Obiajuru Luya. Obiajuru Luya. Obiajuru Luya. That's my name. My email address is obiluya@gmail.com. obiluya@gmail.com. You have a question? Come on.
From the topic,
Yes.
you said 2030 agendas. I'd like to know the 2030 agendas.
Thank you. Those are the goals. So you have to identify ways you can contribute to the goals, talk about it, and implement it so that we know that we are getting closer to the goals. Thank you.